Hello, I'm Lisa Chamberlain-James, and one of my specialist interests is in writing for patients and the general public. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that today and how medical writers can fit in and our role and responsibilities in that area. The drive towards patient centricity and the increase in transparency has led to a raft of new regulations and guidances issued by the regulatory agencies. Things like the Section 6 of the RMP, which is a patient-friendly summary of the RMP, and in the EU, Regulation 536/2014, which is the lay summary of clinical trial results. This is designed to be a patient-friendly summary of what happened in the clinical trial. But this kind of information presents quite a challenge for the pharmaceutical industry. The documents, quite rightly, normally sit within departments that are much more used to writing specialist documentation for regulatory agencies, and they're not used to engaging with patients. And writing this kind of information is actually a challenge in itself. It's very difficult to produce information that is fit for purpose and useful for patients when you're dealing with information that is sometimes trying to describe very difficult clinical concepts or therapies or study designs, or even the risk-benefit ratio of those outcomes. And unless you can present it in context to the general public or to a patient, it's hard for them to understand what to do with that information, or even have information that is useful for them to process. And the industry has come up with a range of responses to this. So some companies are very engaged and very proactive, and they have already started to produce clinical trial summary results and other information directly for patients. And we've seen a range in quality of those. Some of them are extremely high quality, perfect, fit for purpose, very, very useful for patients. And other documents are perhaps still works in progress. But it's very difficult, and at least something is being done. Some companies, as I say, are very proactive. Others are adopting a more wait and see approach to see how the regulations develop. And others are adopting an approach that actually it's just not for them and they don't want to have to deal with this yet, and they're not really engaging with the process at all. As medical writers, though, I think this is a real opportunity for us. I think we have a unique skill set in that we are able to understand and process complex clinical data. We are able to work with teams to help tease out the messages and the really crucial information, and find which ones of those are actually going to be of most importance to patients, because sometimes what's an important outcome for a patient is not necessarily the most important outcome from the study. And then we're able to use our language skills to translate that into a message and a document that is really fit for purpose and can really help patients and improve their lives and their health literacy outcomes. We've all seen what's happened when, in the current pandemic, poor information is put out there. Fake news, really misrepresented information. It can have very, very serious outcomes. So I actually think this is even more than an opportunity for medical writers. I think it's part of our duty. Medical writing for me is not a job, it's a privilege, and regulations are only going to go one way. We are going to have more regulations, more guidances, more documents like this are going to be mandated, and I think that's a really good thing. And as medical writers, I think it's a real privilege that we are able to contribute to that and to make the lives of patients and the general public better. At the end of the day, who doesn't want to actually make a difference and try and help other people? And I think as medical writers, we have a real opportunity to do that. So I would encourage any of you out there, please engage with the process, learn more about how to write for patients. It's not easy, it's a real challenge, it's very difficult. But I think as medical writers, it's very needed, and it's absolutely one of the most rewarding things we can do. Thank you for listening to me.